Before I begin this video, I just wanted to apologize for some of the audio issues I had in the last video, part 5. When I was in the middle of doing the countertop composite, something really weird happened to my audio and I couldn't tell you where it came from or how it happened. Nothing that I'm aware of changed at this end. I must have picked up some sort of interference from someplace. So hopefully that's not going to keep happening. I didn't realize it until I was editing the piece afterwards. So what I wanted to show you, just to tie up a couple of loose ends, what I wanted to show you in this video is where you can get other objects other than what is supplied by Photoshop. Photoshop gives you these basic shapes, but clearly they're limited to what they can do. There is a website called Turbosquid. It's a very popular website for getting objects. You can get objects for free or you can pay for objects. They're models that people build and submit and try to sell online. It's very much like a stock photography site where people can take photographs, upload, and hopefully somebody at some point purchases them at the other end. It's kind of like that, but it's with 3D objects. And what's great is you can get a handful of stuff for free if you're just looking to play around with things. Clearly you can search for objects, but they also have categories listed below here. I'm just going to jump into a category. Let's do watch. And you'll see a list of watches here, and again, some are free and some will have a certain dollar amount associated to them. I would recommend going under formats here, and I would use 3ds. That is a 3D Studio Max file. And 3ds files seem to import into Photoshop quite nicely. There is a lot of 3D software out there, and most software packages have their own proprietary format, and they don't necessarily play well together. Getting one 3D object from one program to another at times can be a ginormous headache. So I have found that 3ds objects seem to work out pretty okay going to Photoshop. So before you fall in love with anything you might see here, sort through formats and make sure you've got a 3ds model. You can also there's other things like STLs work out pretty good. I think OBJs work out fairly okay. And then there's others like LWO and C4D, which don't seem to work at all at the moment. That could change in the future, but just be aware you can't just download any 3D model and expect it to work. So in my experience, 3ds seems to come in the cleanest. So let's say you do download a model. How do you get it in here? Well, I've already gone ahead and I've downloaded a couple of 3ds models, and you just go up to your 3D menu and you go new, I can't seem to get it. New 3D, let's try this again. You go new 3D layer from file. Click on that, and let's pull in the rim that I used in the trailer. Hit OK. Give it a moment, and there it is. Now in this case it happens to be lying down, so I want to click on it and let's rotate it right side up here if we can. Come on. There we go. It's grabbing the wrong edge. Okay, let's go in on a little bit of a angle here. There we go. We will get this upright. There we go. So it's got to spin it around, and there you have it. You can see it's casting a nice shadow by the default infinite light. If I look in my 3D palette here, it happens to be called cylinder. I could always rename it to rim, and it appears that there are two textures on here. I'm going to guess it is the dark gray and the light gray, so I can go ahead and color those any way I would like. Let's go under layers here. Let's throw that out. Also earlier I downloaded should be a cup in here. There we go. Maybe not quite as exciting as the rim, but same deal. So you can bring in other objects, and again, if we take a look at the properties here, it seems to just have one surface or one material on it. And if I take a look up here at my materials, you can see some have already been colored, so I should be able to go in here and easily change all that stuff around. So you can bring in other 3D objects. Working in the 3D environment in Photoshop is asking a lot of Photoshop. It's very taxing on the software. You know, in the demos we did, it seemed to work out pretty okay, but I've experienced weird rendering where, you know, parts of the object simply just don't render out for who knows what reason. Sometimes when I do depth of field adjustments, I don't actually see it live on the screen like we saw in the demo. Sometimes it just doesn't show them. When you render it, they're there, but it's a little guessing game. So it does get a little fussy from time to time, so you have to expect that. But, when it works, and it usually does work, it's a pretty nice feature to have. You can do some really interesting things with it. So good luck, and keep on playing around.